Hi, and welcome to Tech Talks, the People and Planet podcast. On this episode, I'm joined by Josh Garnham, co-founder of London-based logistics startup Packfleet. Hi, Josh. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Really looking forward to this. So, Josh, let's start at, I guess, the start. Tell us a little bit about Packfleet. Tell us a little bit about the problem that you guys are solving with the mission, and perhaps how you're, disrupting the logistics sector.
Yeah, definitely. I think quite uniquely about this, like what we do, everybody has kind of existing horror story of trying to receive a delivery and it going like terribly wrong. There's something that I think most people can relate very easily to, right? Like, something ends up in the wrong place a few doors down the road, or like there's something on your doorstep and you've just been sat in the lounge the whole day. Like the bar is so low when it comes to deliveries. There's so much more that we can make better there. And that's what we're trying to do. Try and make it delightful. When you get a text message saying that Packfleet are coming to deliver to you, you're filled with delight rather than that dread that you might experience with like DHL or TPD or Hermes/Every now. So trying to give that much better experience and trying to do it all in a carbon neutral or carbon negative way as well, to make sure that what we're building now is sustainable for the future. And that was really important when we got started as well. Like that would be our kind of starting point, that we have all electric vans rather than starting with some that are electric, some that are diesel, and having to try to kind of pay back that debt in the future. We want to start with that base where all of our vans are electric, charged with renewable energy, and having that as a core part of what we're doing as a company as well.
Yeah, nice. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like everyone's got a story of something going missing. It ends up broken in your next door neighbor's garden, or just thrown away somewhere, So I think that resonates with everyone, and especially, if you can do it in a sustainable way as well. Fantastic. So obviously this is going to be very, very tech driven. Tell us a little bit about, because I believe you're the technical co-founder to Packfleet as well.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
You're ideally placed to tell us a little bit more about how the tech behind it works.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think one of the key things that we wanted, and especially for me, that I really cared about from the get-go, was for us to be able to own the kind of whole end-to-end tech stack ourselves, rather than using third-party things that are off the shelf. Because I think that being able to tie everything together doesn't just result in a better experience for like your recipients or for your merchants, but it also results in something where you can be more efficient, which has benefits not just as a company, but also in terms of sustainability as well. It means that you have less vans on the road, so that even if they're electric, you're causing less congestion and stuff like that, which still has an impact, right? And being able to build something that is delightful, like I say, not just for recipients, but for our drivers as well, for internal operations teams, rather than them having to jump through different tooling on different platforms, having that all in one place that is tightly integrated together makes, one, everybody's lives easier, and two, lets us do cool things that other delivery companies, other couriers out there can't do. Like you can book a same day upgrade to a same day delivery, or book a time window the night before, things that you wouldn't be able to do with a traditional courier because the tech just isn't there to be able to support that.
And it sounds as though it's all about, well, I was just saying it's all about the user, and I guess it is, but you're also saying it makes the actual delivery driver's life an awful lot easier as well. But the experience just seems to be, night and day, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing. It is about the user. We just have lots of different types of user. I think that's one of the key things, right? Like we've got our recipients, and then the kind of product surface that they touch. We have our merchants, the businesses that are sending things through us. We have our drivers who are using our driver app, who are impacted by the routing platform that we use. And we have all of our folks internally, our internal operations team, who are using our tooling to do the live operation side of things, keep track of where drivers are at, if they need support with anything, resolving problems, doing the customer support side of things. And there's all different types of user. We're trying to build a great experience for all of them. And a lot of times that overlaps. Being able to own that whole kind of core of things means that you can build that in a much more delightful, a much more simple way, versus having to jump around various different tools or using third-party stuff.
So how big's the team then?
Yeah, so we have about 40 drivers, delivery drivers, and then about 20 folks in our warehouse side of things, and then we have 30 in the HQ team. So we're still a really small HQ team. Like our team of folks based in the office, there's only about 30 of us, and our tech team is about 6 people. So we really try to have a really amazing, like high quality, high performing like tech team, and keeping it small, I think has a lot of benefits, especially at an early stage, in terms of how you work together on things, forcing you to prioritize what is really important for you as a company as well, and being able to build like a team that works really closely together. And I think that's another thing that's really important for us, is like how like our engineers and folks working on the tooling that we're building, or our driver app, or the recipient tracking page, all these kind of things, that those folks, those engineers, have a great overlap with what it's like to go on the road and do deliveries, what it's like to be in operations and handle the kind of support side of things. So when recipients are getting in touch, or merchants, or our drivers, like building that context is really important to us.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because you know, and then they can actually almost build up a bit of empathy towards it, can't they? And solve that problem. They can experience the problem and build the solution to it. Do you find, how do you find hiring for that sort of person then? Do you find that you need to kind of, I don't know, at interview stage, hire for that specific type of mindset?
No, definitely. Like, I think that was, as you were saying that, that's what I was thinking about. Like, that is something that we explicitly try to hire for. That kind of empathy for other folks is like a really core part of one of the things that we interview for. Like, there's the element of that at every stage. We're thinking about that, like, how well is this person able to empathize with others? And you can see that in different ways. Like when you talk to people about things, how do they explain things? Especially if you're interviewing someone who's technical, how can they translate that into something that's for a non-technical audience? There's an element of empathy there, right? You're trying to understand the other person. How are they going to hear things? How do they communicate? And looking at like our values as a company, we really care about what we call compassion, which comes into that kind of like, there's empathy, there's kindness there. That's a really core part of one of the things that we hire for. And also is really important when we look for folks, especially within our engineering team, who have like a product mindset. They're thinking about the kind of product side of things, what they're actually building. It's not just about the technical stuff, it's about the product you're building. And in order to do that really well, you also have to think about who are the users. Why are you building this? What impact does it have? And what problems are you actually solving for people?
Yeah, for sure. Because I think your background personally, you were an engineer at Monzo, weren't you? And worked for you a manager in the end, before you moved on.
Indeed. Yeah, I kind of moved.
How do you think that experience of you know, being in that sort of fintech environment has helped shape how you lead the team now, and in fact, you know, how you plan to do it in the future?
Yeah, I think my experience at Monzo is really useful, not just from seeing kind of a company start from 15 people go to 2,000, and what it takes for a startup to go from startup to like one of the biggest.
Is that what it was when you joined? 15 people?
Yes, it's like 15 people, just over, I think. So like one, like that general experience of just being in that environment, seeing what it took, super valuable and really useful, and shaped a lot of how I think about things today. But also really useful, and I think one of the things, oftentimes people ask me like, logistics delivery company, it's very different from like a bank or like fintech, and I like, yeah, that's kind of true, but also there's like a lot of similarities in some ways. Like it's another sector, another industry where the bar is really low, and you have these large big incumbents who don't provide a very good service. There isn't a lot of competition to force them to provide a bigger service, better service, and the user experience or the customer experience is really poor, and there's nothing driving that to be better. And like Monzo came into that space in kind of financial services, within banking, to try and do that. I feel like we're coming to a similar space within deliveries to do the same thing, try to provide a better user experience. And that's that similarity I see. And that's one of the things also like really learned from my time at Monzo, is that empathy for our users, for our customers. How can we make things work really well for them? And how can we always like give them the benefit of the doubt and make the outcome, the experience as great for them as possible, not just in terms of the app they use or the service and how it works, but also like when something goes wrong, like how do we empathize with them? How do we support them? How do we communicate these kind of things? Like that's super important as well. And that kind of culture at Monzo of transparency about that, both internally and externally, when something went wrong or something wasn't so great, and how we communicated that was really important as well, and something that's definitely carried through through now in terms of how we think about like how we're building a company, the culture we want, how we want people to think about our brand as well, and the way that we communicate with people. If something does happen to go wrong, we want to be able to communicate that kindly, take ownership for it, and make sure that folks feel that we really care about what they're doing and what impact that we've had. And I think it's something that we genuinely do, which a lot of other places just get wrong. Like, it's super hard to talk to anybody, and you don't really feel like other companies really care, but we do, and we want to try and get to a good outcome. And I think that makes a huge difference in terms of the brand, much like it did at Monzo as well.
And so you guys are what, I think just over a year old or so?
Yeah, it's coming up 2 years now.
So coming up 2 years. You're obviously a startup, you're doing well, but it's never plain sailing, right?
Yeah.
What sort of challenges have you had in that time? How have you overcome
them? Good question. I think there's always a classic thing of like, any day you can ask me what's the challenge, and like there'll be a new challenge. It's like there's a never ending stream of challenges, I think. But it is a really great question. I think for us, like for a good while, it was kind of like how we scale up and grow, and how do we do that in a way that also, especially from kind of like our delivery team and for our warehouse team, for folks that are drivers or warehouse operatives and stuff, how do we grow but also maintain a really great culture there as well? Because it can be really, I think one of the things you can often get in the trap of doing and sacrifice as you need to grow fast is the culture side of things. Like, how much effort and energy are you putting into hiring great people? How much effort and energy are you putting into building a great experience and culture there? I think that's one of our biggest challenges, I think, is that side of things. Like, we want to grow fast as a company, but we also really want to maintain that culture. And a lot of us have seen that from the aspect of quick scaling kind of like startups, but we haven't really seen that from the aspect of like a quick scaling company where you have this core base of folks who actually don't spend much time. There's not much of an overlap because most of the time they're on the road, they're doing deliveries. How do you build up a really great culture when there's less overlap like that? And that's something that we really care about. It's also a big challenge because for a lot of us that's new to us, and we have some folks who've seen this elsewhere, other courier companies, and how to do this, but it is a real challenge, and trying to do something that's different there, because like folks who've maybe worked at other courier companies, other delivery companies, they probably haven't had a great experience, and that's the default of what they've experienced before. Same with recipients as well. Like, the default starting point if something goes wrong or receiving a delivery is like, oh, it's terrible, like everything's bad. And you're working to like change that like assumption, right? It's like, actually no, we really do care. Like, we're trying to make things better. We want to hear like how we could have done something better. How could that delivery have been better? How could your experience today when you're out on the road doing deliveries have been better? And trying to like try that is a never-ending challenge. Like, it's always, you don't just make culture happen and then that's it. Like, you don't just tick a box. It's like, it's always an ongoing thing. You're trying to make sure you're hiring the right people, you're giving people the right experience, and you're encouraging the right feedback to grow that environment as we scale. And that's never-ending challenge. And I think that's the main thing that I think about and care about a lot. And I think like alongside the tech side of things, I'm very much care and passionate about the people side of things and what kind of company we're building internally, which is also like, which is also really important. You know, there's a sustainability side of things, but there's also like the ethical side of things as well. What kind of company you're building, how you treat the people that work for you, and that's really important too. And that's the thing that I also think a lot about amongst other bits as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you've obviously got a strong mission there and a very, very values driven as a business, and I think that's, you know, certainly such a key thing when it comes to being able to hire those key people and being able to keep scaling. Definitely a challenge for a lot of businesses when they don't have such a strong value. What I was going to ask was, you guys have just been certified B Corp. Tell us what it means to be recognized. It's a great achievement. You must be delighted.
Yeah, definitely. Like, being recognized as a B Corp is fantastic. I think like one of the things that it's a long process to get to that point of being a certified B Corp, and quite rightly, like, it takes a lot of effort going through that process, getting recognized, getting certified. And I think like for us, it's great to be recognized as it, and it's also great to have that accountability there as well. And I think that's one of the crucial parts about being a B Corp, So it's not just like one and done. Like it enshrines certain things in how you run your company, how the board think about things, that hold you to account. And I think that's really important for us as well. And it also recognizes, like what I was touching before, about that kind of ethical side of things, about the sustainability side of things as well. And also like signifies something big, like when we, like it signifies something to our existing investors, it signifies things to our future investors, to the recipients that we deliver to businesses that might work with us or currently work with us. Like it shows as a pillar of what we're doing that it's something that's really important to us, and anybody who's kind of getting on board, like our investors, have to be really on board with that as well. I think that's really important too. So yeah, no, it's great to have that B Corp certification.
Yeah, fantastic. When was it recognized, and when did you get the certification?
Yeah, it's only a few months ago that we got the final like tick on the certification.
Nice.
But it's great.
Okay, lastly then, Josh, what's next for Packfleet? What can we expect?
Nice. Yeah, I think there's so much that we want to do as we grow. I think the kind of next things on the horizon for us, like expanding outside of London. So there's the kind of expansion side of things of the company. Like right now we deliver within London, within the M25, and now it's like, how do we bring this great experience to other folks within the UK as well? Like thinking about other cities that we might want to expand to, like yourself, you're in Manchester. Like how do we bring that Packfleet experience to you and other people based in the UK as well? And alongside that, like how do we kind of grow our product and our tech side of things to support that as well? And how can we start automating more of the things that are kind of like manual for internal operations team at the moment? How can we build on the platform that we already have to take care of more of that ourselves as well? And that will mean growing the team, having more specialists in like the routing side of things, and people who are real experts in these kind of like super fascinating, like pure computer science problems and stuff as well. And then building a great kind of experience for users at the top of that as well, because I think all of these things, all these problems we're solving, which are tech related, the reason we're trying to solve them is because it provides better experience for somebody. It's not something just to solve the technical problem. It's like the outcome has to be something great for a driver or some drivers or for our recipients. And I think that's really exciting too. And there's a lot of like product stuff in the pipeline as well. We're already working, like I was saying, like same day upgrade for deliveries that we just want to keep growing and making easier, more feasible, more available to more and more customers as well. So yeah, very excited for what's to come, especially with expansion, to give more people like that access to the Packfleet experience. Can be great.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I'm excited to having a nice delivery experience come up here to Manchester as well. Josh, thanks so much for joining us. It's been really great. It's been really insightful. Guys, this has been Josh from Packfleet. And if you've enjoyed Josh's content today, make sure to give us a like, a comment, a share, subscribe, help the algorithm. This has been Tech Talks, the People and Planet podcast. Thanks.